rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. I am your host, Rick. Well. Today is a birthday of one of the longtime Whiskey Warrior P1s, so once again, I'll be singing at the end of the show, singing happy birthday to Coco, the insert name here. A lot of people wonder why that happens. It's because she has multiple personalities on Rumble. Yeah, no, she doesn't have multiple personality disorder. She's just got a lot of, she's got a lot of personalities on Rumble because she moderates for a lot of different people on Rumble. And so, yeah. But apparently she got something that she received something in a gift that she's been asking for years. And she is going to be taking some time to put it together. It's like well over 2,000 different pieces. So, yeah. Anyway, happy birthday, Coco. I'll get to you in just I'll get to you at the end of the show. All right, folks, let's go ahead. We're back on track now because we had to showcase Kat Pekarek's Pledge of Allegiance yesterday because she got it in. Thank you for that. That's 18. I'm looking for 20. Come on now. I'm looking for 20. But that being said, we're back on track now. And tonight is Bonnie. Bonnie is on tap for tonight's Pledge of Allegiance. So if you are of mine, please stand, remove your hat if you're wearing one like me, and follow along with Bonnie as she recites the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and of course, I thank you, Bonnie, for that wonderful rendition of the pledge. If you would like to hear your pledge played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself reciting or performing the pledge in your style. Then take that audio file, video file, whatever kind of file, and attach it to an email, or you can share it, apparently, to me. Send it off to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. And I will get you into the rotation. Like I said, I am looking for 20. I need 19 first, but, 2 more. Come on, 2 more. I like even numbers. Let's do even numbers. We're at 18 now. I want 20, so give me 2 more. All right. Drink the drink, which has been the drink of choice for like a month now, but here it is, Buffalo Trace. It's mainly just because of the fact that I haven't been able to go and get anything else so far. I mean, I've got some other stuff, obviously. I've got some Irish and everything up there as well, but there I go with my problem of swallowing again. Ooh. Wow. And tonight I'll be drinking it out of the wonderful, fabulous Whiskey Warrior P1 gift to yours truly. It takes stones to drink with whiskey glass. And there it is. There's the stones, requisite stones in the glass right there. All right. Yeah. You know what it is? It's not the whiskey, I'm telling you. It's because of the fact that I was working on my weed whacker today. I did a full full service, new spark plug, new ignition coil, new gas filter, new air filter, even put in a new muffler. So did it all. That's why. It's not the whiskey, I promise. It's not the whiskey. Of course, my P1s are all sitting there going, yeah, sure it isn't. Anyway, all right. Let's go ahead and get on with tonight's headline sponsor. Oh, my gosh. My chat's already there. My chats are going nuts. My chat's going nuts. All right, let's get on with our headline sponsor, which is the Institute on the Constitution. That's right. The Institute on the Constitution was established in 2004 as a 501c3 nonprofit with one singular mission, and that is to restore the constitutional republic through grassroots education. All courses and materials are developed using primary source documents and taught from the American view of law and government as defined in the Declaration of Independence in the following 3 key points. 1, there is a God. 2, our rights come from him. And 3, the purpose of civil government is to secure and protect our God-given rights. The IOTC offers the opportunity to educate yourself on our most precious founding document, the Constitution of the United States. They also provide tools to educate your community and get involved with local government. Start by taking their free U.S. Constitution course and go from there. Use my affiliate link, iotc.americanperspective.online, to sign up. And while you are there, take a moment to look through their other course material and information. My affiliate link, once again, is iotc.americanperspective.online to get great content, to learn about our historical founding, and support the show in the process. That's iotc.americanperspective.online. Or if you just want to have this fabulous Saddleback leather-bound U.S. Constitution to support the show, go to constitution.americanperspective.online. My Whiskey Warriors know that it's got sexy rounded corners to make it easy for you to stick it in your pockets. And each purchase of this rounded corner book will give a liberal level 3 hemorrhoids. I don't know what level 3 is, but there you go. Anyway, take a look at this. It's got 1/8 of an inch of Saddleback leather wrapped around pages that are water and tear resistant. And don't forget, there's no cheap glue here, folks. They're stitched all the way through the leather and the pages contained within. It's got a 100-year warranty against materials and manufacturing defects, such that if you have a problem within that 100 years, you can send it back to the manufacturer and they will either fix it or replace it for free. As Buddy says, I shall give my hearty approval to this righteous document. That's right. Hearty approval to this, because it is Buddy tested, Buddy approved, Billy tasted, Billy approved. And my youngest Whiskey Warrior has confirmed that the information contained within will help you to study for your civics badge in Scouts, as well as help you pass your civics exam. Go to constitution.americanperspective.online and get yours today. And also, don't forget to check out the rest of the Institute on the Constitution's offerings, as they do a fantastic job with all of their information and their books and things like that. It's just fantastic and fabulous, all right? So go to constitution.americanperspective.online, pick up your copy of the U.S. Constitution, and then also don't forget to check out the rest of the Institute on the Constitution. I am thankful that they are allowing me to be a brand affiliate. You know, just as a little bit of a hint, Mrs. Whiskey was looking at a website today. I don't know why, but she was. And she said there's only 126 days left till Christmas. You know, that Constitution is a fantastic stocking stuffer or gift for everyone in your family. For the American-loving ones in your family, they will love it and keep it forever. It's a keepsake item. For the libs or the leftists or the lunatics in your family, well, you can have fun watching them attempting to tear it up. Yeah, so go to constitution.americanperspective.online today. Get that book, put it in your favorite person's stocking as a stocking stuffer, and, of course, support the show in the process. All right. Yeah, I know. I don't want to necessarily think about Christmas yet either, but she is coming, and she is coming fast. You know, that's one thing that I've always said. The only thing constant in life is change. And the only thing completely constant in life is time. So there you go. You've got change and time. Those are two constants in life. Time doesn't stop and change will always happen. So there you go. All right. Okay. Oh God, you guys are just that stuff is off the rails. I can't remember which one that is. Hang on. Which one is that? Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. We're off the rails already. Anyway. All right, let's get on to the first segment, of course, of the show. This is Saturday, and so therefore we talk about On This Day in American History. And, of course, for On This Day in American History, a.k.a. known as Story Time, we read from the American Patriots Almanac, written by William J. Bennett and John T.E. Cribb, chock full of all kinds of information and factoids about our wonderful country that we call home. You can get yours, pick your book up as a Christmas present. That's another one, too, you could do for somebody. But anyway, tonight... Tonight we are talking about the veterans of foreign wars. The Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States is the nation's oldest major veterans organization and one of the country's great patriotic institutions. It traces its roots to 1899 when veterans of the Spanish-American War in 1898 and the Philippine Insurrection 1899 to 1902 began founding organizations to help sick and wounded comrades. In August of 1913, at a meeting in Denver, the groups combined to become the VFW. VFW membership is open to men and women either active duty or honorably discharged who have fought in a foreign military campaign. The VFW and its auxiliaries, organizations made up of spouses and relatives of veterans, include 2.2 million members in 8,100 posts worldwide. The headquarters is in Kansas City, Missouri. The VFW's mission is to honor the dead by helping the living. Its work includes providing a voice for veterans, assisting needy veterans and their families, developing friendships among members, honoring deceased veterans, and supporting troops overseas. VFW and auxiliary members donate millions of volunteer hours in community service, from working in blood drives to funding college scholarships. They also promote citizenship, patriotism, and interest in American history with school programs, essay contests, and education about the American flag. The character of the VFW is set forth in its charter, granted by Congress, which states that the organization's purpose is to, quote, extend the institutions of American freedom and to preserve and defend the United States from all her enemies, whomsoever. And that is tonight's On This Day in American History. You know, I got to be careful when I put this book back, because when I pulled it off the shelf tonight, it had a bend in the cover. I like to keep things nice, all my wonderful things nice, and unfortunately I didn't realize that when I put it back on the shelf that I bent the cover back in the corner. So I got to watch that now. I got to be very, very careful for all of that. So anyway, all right. Well, Oh, where did there it is. There's my cursor. It went to sleep on me. All right. So first up, you know, a lot of the left have been sitting and talking about the fact that, Canada is standing up to Trump and that Canada is doing all this wonderful things against Trump because, of course, the left hates Trump. The left believes that Trump is the Hitler of the, modern era, and that Trump is some sort of a anti-American person, even though he's done pretty much everything and has been one of the most constitutional presidents in modern history, at least definitely of the last three. Well, they keep claiming, or they keep praising Canada, and they keep praising all the things that Canada's doing. Well, they're going to freak when they see this, which, of course, isn't being transmitted very easily or very well in the mainstream media. And here it is. Canada has decided now to lift numerous retaliatory tariffs against the U.S. Do you remember how Canada kept talking all this game about, hey, you know what, you put this stuff on us and we're going to retaliate and we're going to do all these tariffs and everything else. And then Trump said, you know what, I'm done. Trade deals where you need to talk to us, and until you do, we're just going to keep the tariffs on and everything else. And then Canada said, oh, okay, well, we're going to put retaliatory tariffs on and so on and so forth. And it kind of went back and forth. And of course, the left celebrated this. The left celebrated all of this. But what they don't know is that Canada has announced the removal of many of the retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods. They're basically bowing to the Trump administration's prerequisite that these duties be ended before trade talks can resume. So apparently Canada must be feeling like they are not getting the better end of whatever deal or whatever situation that this is in. I've seen all kinds of posts on social media talking about how Canada's tourism to the U.S. is down, all these millions and millions of years and so on and so forth. And yeah, people don't seem to understand, and especially the left, because the left doesn't understand. I figured it out. The left pretty much doesn't understand much of anything. But specifically, the left doesn't understand things like economics. They don't understand things like taxes. They don't understand things like tariffs. Pretty much anything dealing with money, a leftist will absolutely not know anything about it because, they believe, for whatever reason, that, the government just sort of hands out money whenever it needs to or whatever. So, yeah. Anyway, Canada apparently is folding now, and Prime Minister Mark Carney has announced, and this announcement was made on August 22nd, that, and Prime Minister Mark Carney said, as we work intensively with the United States, our focus is squarely on the strategic sectors. So this particular decision, of course, is expected to ease trade tensions and could lead to further negotiations between the two nations under the USMCA, or the U.S.-Mexico-Canada Agreement. So, yeah. In other words, another Trump win. Trump has proven that, hey, this is something that's going to keep us going and make things better and make America great again. So, yeah, there you go. Well, in terms of tariffs, by the way, according to the Congressional Budget Office, known as the CBO, they've revamped their estimation in terms of what Trump's tariffs are actually going to do to us. Apparently, the Trump tariffs are going to reduce deficits by $4 trillion. That's right, with a T. $4 trillion over the next decade. They also note that revenues often lag several months behind the implementation of the tariff policies. And, well, that's obvious because, you know, they're going to be collecting them over time. But this was a report released yesterday by the CBO, predicted this. If Trump's global tariff hikes continue, the increased revenue could shrink primary deficits by $3.3 trillion and cut federal interest payments by $0.7 trillion over the next decade. The current top tariff rates may hold as negotiations with trading partners and international legal challenges are ongoing. The Budget Office said in its report, adding that Trump's tariffs would reduce the need for federal borrowing, they said, we estimate that the effective tariff rate for goods imported into the United States has increased about 18 percentage points when measured against 2024 trade flows. The CBO also says that it projects further increases in tariff revenues in the coming months, and that if there are no further changes in tariff rates, we project that custom duties for new and existing tariffs will total about $200 billion just this fiscal year. Yeah. Now, of course, like I said, they mentioned that the revenues are often going to lag several months behind the implementation, noting that once the rates are in effect, they don't get applied to goods that are already in transit to the United States. Well, that's nothing unusual. Anyway, the CBO added, in addition, importers have the option to delay payments by up to 6 weeks by participating in Custom and Border Protection's periodic monthly statement program, which is a federal agency within the legislative branch that provides budget and economic information to both houses. Oh, that's the CBO. Never mind. So in July, Congress passed the GOP-backed One Big Beautiful Bill Act that contains several major Trump priorities on energy, the border, spending, tax cuts. The CBO said that was supposed to add around $3.4 trillion to the national deficit over the decade. So think about that for a second. So the CBO, the same CBO, has said that the One Big Beautiful Bill is estimated to add $3.4 trillion to the national deficit. But the tariffs are going to knock it down $4 trillion. The same deficit. And so that means that we're actually, right now, Trump is actually running a $0.6 trillion overage right now. Yeah. That's interesting. So, yeah. There are also, now keep in mind, the Trump administration said that the One Big Beautiful Bill and all the tariffs and policies initiated under it would bring forth economic growth over the coming years that would offset any additions to the national deficit. Yeah. The White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt told reporters on July 21st in response to the CBO report on the One Big Beautiful Bill, it was the largest tax cut for middle and working class families in our nation's history, and the president wants to see this country get our fiscal house in order. That's why this was a fiscally responsible bill. In a statement on Thursday, the White House again touted the One Big Beautiful Bill by posting excerpts from a series of recent newspaper articles that have so far praised the measure. Earlier this month, the administration also said that Americans would see an average tax cut of $3,752 under the bill, citing a report from the nonprofit organization called the Tax Foundation. So, yeah, leftists, take a look. Trump's tariffs, Trump's tax bills, all the things that Trump is doing is starting to lower our 37 trillion plus deficit that we have right now. It's the attempt to lower it. You know, again, I'm just going to point it out because Stephen Stiles and I were talking the other day, and literally the number one thing that the federal government could do if they want to balance their budget is really quite easy. It's called use the 10th Amendment. If we were to do that and like take every single one of our laws and put it up against the 10th Amendment, every single one of our federal programs, everything that, according to Davy Crockett, the Congress has taken that is not theirs, okay, that is not theirs, and taken it and used it for different means than what is constitutionally allowed, like that farmer blamed Davy Crockett for, then that would get our deficit and spending way back under control, folks. Way back under control. So, yeah. Well, Fed Chairman Jerome Powell has signaled that the next meeting there may possibly be a rate cut, an interest rate cut. And so they opened the door to rate cuts, but he did caution about inflation during his Jackson Hole speech that he gave. I believe it might be the last one that he's slated to give. Well, immediately on that conversation in that speech where he said that there's a possibility of doing a rate cut, markets went ahead and started to rally. So, yeah. Anyway, he hinted at an upcoming interest rate cuts as risks to the central bank's dual mandate, which is essentially maximum employment and price stability, increase. This was his final keynote address at the Jackson Hole Economic Symposium on August 22nd. Powell indicated that the current economic conditions may warrant a reduction to the benchmark federal funds rate. He said, with policy in restrictive territory, the baseline outlook and the shifting balance of risks may warrant adjusting our policy stance. Now, the U.S. labor market, according to him, remains in a solid position despite the July employment report. Various other job indicators, such as layoffs, nominal wage growth, and quits, have been little changed, while the unemployment stands at a historically low level of 4.2% and has been broadly stable over the past year. As for inflation, tariffs are creating upside risks, he stated, and levies are beginning to push up prices in some categories of goods. Well, we knew that was going to happen. A short-term pain for long-term gain. We knew that was coming. But it's not impacting it as bad as what everybody has been essentially warning or, trying to scare everybody about. So, according to Powell, The likely scenario is that tariffs will result in a one-time price shift. Now, he does say that one time does not mean all at once. It will continue to take time for tariff increases to work their way through supply chains and distribution networks. Moreover, tariff rates continue to evolve, potentially prolonging the adjustment process, he said. Well, of course they keep evolving because people are, trying to work with Trump. It was going back and forth and all over the place. Anyway. So he did say that come what may, we will not allow a one-time increase in the price level to become an ongoing inflation problem. So, he did say, though, that on the broader economy, gross domestic product has slowed at a considerable pace in the first half of 2025, driven by a slowdown in consumer spending. I'm not quite sure I agree with that. I actually think it's a slowdown in government spending that's caused it. But, remember, the 4 years of the Biden administration, they were manipulating the GDP by creating all those government jobs and everything else. So, Anyway. So, we'll just kind of have to see what's going to happen over time. But yeah, we'll just have to kind of see what happens. Now, President Trump, and this is kind of a side note, President Trump was speaking to reporters and confirmed that he would fire Fed Governor Lisa Cook if she does not resign. Now, keep in mind, Lisa Cook is apparently also under mortgage fraud allegations by Bill Pulte, the chairman of the Federal Housing Finance Agency. So now, Cook did say in a statement to the Epoch Times, where I'm getting this, is that she does not have any intention of being bullied to step down from her positions. So, we'll just have to kind of see where that goes. Anyway, the idea, I think this, at least right now, they're talking about possibly cutting like a 0.25%. So 0.25 points. We'll see. All right. Let me go ahead and get a ad spot. But, got to get at least somewhat of a little bit of money paid. Anyway, you guys all know that I wake up every single morning and I have my cup of coffee. In fact, I had to have my cup of coffee late this morning because I got up and got out of whack in terms of my morning routine. But every morning I get up with a 16-ounce cup and it says, "Father like no other." Gift from my youngins, the whiskey youngins. Not so young anymore. I'm going to tell you, I'm getting older. Time's running by. Anyway, to get back to this, if you still haven't tried 1775 coffee, now's your shot. The 1775 starter kit has just dropped with a limited number of units available. In each unit, folks, you're getting the bold dark roast that hits hard. You'll also get to try the smooth medium roast, as well as the Vitality Mushroom Coffee, which has clean energy and laser focus with no crash. All of these coffees are single origin, small batch, toxin-free, and mold-free. Plus, you're also getting my personal favorite at the gold spoon clip, because freedom isn't scooped with plastic. You'll also be receiving a frother strong enough to stir up your coffee and your mother-in-law's opinions. Well, that's on just about anything, which most of the time you don't want them. Anyway, you'll also receive a black 1775 tumbler. This total package is $170 worth of coffee and gear, and is yours for just the low, low price of $99. This is for the ones who've been watching 1775 Coffee blow up on Rumble and have been wondering if it's actually worth it. Spoiler alert, it is. Go to the numbers 1775, the word coffee.com/studio. That / is your question mark key, and studio is STUDIO. Grab your starter kit. Go to 1775 Coffee, that's 1775coffee.com /studio, STUDIO, and grab your starter kit. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something, just like Rumble does. Go to 1775coffee.com /studio and grab your starter kit today before they are gone. All right. Has anybody bothered to use like any of the AIs like ChatGPT or Grok on X or any of these others? Any of these other AIs? Has anybody bothered to use them? I know a lot of libs use them. They use them and they think, oh yeah, this is great. It gave me an answer and woohoo. Ben Shapiro's been pushing Perplexity a lot. And the Perplexity, and he of course believes that that it is what do you say? And that it is the more accurate one, I would think. Anyway, I queried Grok the other day and I said, hey, I go, and I'm going to paraphrase here because I don't remember my exact question to him, but I got one of those ad things in X. You know how that works. They put up an advertisement and it was like, hey, use Grok, get your answers quicker, blah, 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 whatever it said. And I said, hey, Grok, you are a left-leaning answering AI. And it came back to me and it said, well, I understand your concern, but I utilize many sources for my answers. And I said, okay, what sources? It came back with, and I'm not kidding you folks, it came back with, well, I use sources such as CNN, Reuters, Fox News, and some other, and MSNBC. That was the other one that it's. And I went, exactly my point. I said, you are using, leftist sources. And it goes, no. I try to balance my sources out. And I said, oh, really? Well, what other sources do you use? It came back with, oh, I can use other sources such as Al Jazeera or the Gateway Pundit. Folks, you don't seem to get it. If you're using these AIs for anything that might have a bit of a political charge to it, I guarantee you, it will give you a leftist-leaning answer. It is guaranteed to give you a leftist-leaning answer. And don't think that you're going to go and like, oh, I can use, Grok on X and I can say, hey, because I saw this, hey, what about that E.G. Carroll case? How legal actually was it? And of course, it came back with, well, the E.G. Carroll case had used all these kinds of, all this kinds of information and evidence and blah, blah, blah. And it basically supported the E.G. Carroll case. And the person who asked basically said, well, what about the dress? Here's the answer, which we all know the dress was not manufactured on the day that she said that she was assaulted. And so it came back and it goes, well, contrary to what most believe, the dress was not that big of a factor in the, in the case and blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, come on, people. Look, AI, any AI, is built in Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley is in California. Silicon Valley is a left-leaning, regardless of what anybody says, it is 100% left-leaning. That's it. It's 100% left-leaning. Don't even think that these people are like using anything of any type of reliable resource at all on any of this. You want proof of this? Well, you remember the whole thing about Google and how Google was, caught. They were caught suppressing Republicans and Republican advertisements during the elections. They were caught doing this. Okay, now whether or not anybody tried to punish them or anything, it really doesn't matter. But they were caught doing this. Okay, and so take a look at this. This is from MRC Newsbusters. Google still boosts leftist media in major Trump stories despite the preferred sources tool. So Google, otherwise known as the Alphabet Company, claims to, or part of the Alphabet Company, I got to be correct in saying that, claims to empower users to customize search results with a preferred sources tool. However, the Media Research Center can once again confirm that the leftist sources continue to dominate search results even with the tool enabled. Google's favoritism for leftist outlets was evident on Wednesday when MRC searched for major news related to President Donald Trump, including D.C. crime, ongoing U.S.-led peace negotiations between Russia and Ukraine, and DNI Tulsi Gabbard's bombshell accusations against the architects behind the Trump-Russian collusion hoax. Here's the key findings. Google continued prioritizing left-leaning sources to the point that they dominated the search results. And then it blended those sources with the preferred sources selected by MRC researchers. Okay? It also hid a section that displayed the preferred sources of MRC researchers had selected. Folks, if you're using these things and you're expecting, it's sort of like using Wikipedia. I'm going to be completely honest with you. If you're using ChatGPT or OpenAI or Grok or any of these others, and you're sitting here thinking to yourself that you're getting what is essentially non-biased information because, after all, it's a machine, that's not the case. Okay, the way these things work is it crawls the webs, the interwebs, and finds the most predominant number of conversations about X topic, whatever that is. And essentially what happens here is that it takes those and it ranks based on how many times it sees certain pieces of information and considers that the more times it sees it, considers it much more reliable for all of that. Don't trust it. Don't trust AI for anything that you really, really need. Now, all of that being said, okay, I have on Brave, which is my search engine that I use all the time, I have on Brave accepted and followed some of the answers that were AI generated on Brave. But that was not in any way, shape, or form for this show. That was not in any way, shape, or form for anything that could be considered controversial at all. In fact, it's mostly just when I'm searching for something like, say a part or a part number for something. That you can generally believe in. But you've got to be critical. You've got to be, and I know this is hard. I know this is hard for you leftists. I get it. And I always laugh whenever I see a leftist try and respond to somebody's post about, hey, here's a fact. And then the first thing they do is go to chat or Grok or whatever, and they come up with some leftist thing and go, see, even Grok says. No. Grok or OpenAI or ChatGPT or any of the AIs, I'm telling you, any of them, they need to be taken with a grain of salt. They need to be taken and viewed from a critical standpoint, from a critical mindset. You need to make sure that you look at these things, trust but verify, as Ronald Reagan once said. Trust but verify. Verify everything on these things, because I'm telling you, they are being programmed by people who insert, even unknowingly, their own biases into these answers. This machine level learning or machine learning or whatever, okay, you just cannot trust these things. They are only as good as the program that is behind them. They are only as good as the algorithms that are being utilized in order to search out and find these things. And I'm telling you, they go to those things, or those, they have specific instructions as to what to go to first in terms of looking for any kind of information, especially in current events or anything along those lines. They will focus on the leftist items for it. And you have to look at all of these things with a very critical eye. You must. And when you have groups like the left who like to modify their language and change language and make things mean differently than what they actually are, this helps to confuse the AI. It also helps to confuse standard American, standard people, not necessarily standard Americans, but standard people across the globe. Because one of the weapons of the left is to modify language, and meanings of words. In fact, there's a center-left think tank that is called, what is it called? Thirdway. It's a center-left think tank. And they've now produced a document that basically says, hey, lefties, Democrats in particular, but lefties, do you want to sound normal to most folks? Now watch this. Be very, very careful and conscious about this. I'm telling you, the trick is about to unfold here. If the Dems and the left start backing off some of their language, some of their rhetoric, they're going to make it sound as though they are shifting back into the center. But believe me, they are nowhere near going back to the center. They are nowhere near going to slide back into the center of the scale. They're not going to. Now, this center-left think tank basically told the left, they addressed this article to all who wish to stop Donald Trump and MAGA. The group claims that the Democrat policies are not the problem. It's what they call obfuscatory, I can't even say it, the obfuscation of their language that they use to address issues. It says, in reality, most Democrats do not run or govern on wildly out-of-touch social positions, but voters would be excused to believe we do because of the words that come out of our mouths. Words which sound like we are hiding behind unfamiliar phrases to mask extreme intent. Really? So your policies of soft on crime, allowing murderers loose, open borders, illegal immigration, giving a slap on the wrist to any illegal alien coming here. Yeah. Language is your problem. Language is really your problem. Uh-huh. Well, here's the article. You guys don't believe me. Here it is right here. This is from Thirdway. It says, it titled, "Was It Something I Said?" Yeah, it was. And it says, "To all who wish to stop Donald Trump and MAGA." From Thirdway. It's right there. Anyway, it says, "For a party that spends billions of dollars trying to find the perfect language to connect to voters, Democrats and their allies use an awful lot of words and phrases no ordinary person would ever dream of saying." Maybe that's because we don't agree with you? You're right. We wouldn't say the words and phrases. Ordinary people wouldn't say things like, men belong in women's sports. That, babies are just things that should be killed. Yeah. That an illegal alien coming across the border illegally should not be sent back. Yeah. Please. Anyway, and by the way, they say here, the effect of this language is to sound like the extreme divisive, elitist, and obfuscatory enforcers of wokeness. That's what you are. You are thank you, 3 Chevy. Birthing parent versus women. Chest feeding. Thanks for that, Coco D. Insert name here. Chest feeding rather than breastfeeding. Folks, seriously. I mean, come on. Let's be honest. And even thinking that, a male or a person who was born male can actually have babies. I mean, seriously. Thanks for that, Bonnie. But anyway, so they go down and you kind of scroll down this list, and here are some of the words that they have. Now, they've categorized these words. They've categorized them in specific ways. Now, see, to them, they are using these words in order to, and they're basically saying, hey, we need to ban these words because we need to invite clarity. Yeah. Okay. It's saying the language we use must invite, not repel. Start a conversation, not end it. So here's some of their words. First category, therapy speak. Privilege. Violence. And that violence is actually as in environmental violence. Dialoguing. Othering. What the hell is that? Okay, whatever. Triggering. Oh, yeah. Microaggression, assault, and invalidation. Yeah. All right. Progressive stack. Centering. Safe space. Holding space. Body shaming. Yeah. That's another one. Sure. So here under the category of seminar room language. Critical theory. Cultural appropriation. I think I pretty much know what that means. Systems of oppression. Postmodernism. The Overton window. Heuristic. Existential threat to blank. Whatever. It's the climate, the planet, democracy, the economy. It says under those, it says when we use words people don't understand, studies show that part of their brain that signals distrust becomes more active, undermining our ability to reach them. You can't reach them, you morons, because you're not talking to them. Most of the time you're talking above them. And even when you do go and talk to them, you're talking to them about subjects that they honestly already know you're a frickin' moron about. Anyway. Organizer jargon. Here's another category. Small d democracy. Barriers to participation. Stakeholders. Oh, this is a good one. The unhoused. Food insecurity. Housing insecurity. The person who immigrated. Okay. Here they say the Democrats can fight for the poor, the hungry, the homeless, and the immigrants more effectively if they speak in everyday language and in the language of those most affected by these issues. Yeah, okay. So here, oh, this one's a good one. Gender orientation correctness. Now, you guys have already called some of these out. Like birthing person, inseminated person. They say don't use that anymore. Pregnant people, don't use that anymore. Chest feeding, cisgender, dead naming, heteronormative, patriarchy, and of course the alphabet soup, LGBTQIA plus minus divided by sign, whatever. Here's what they say under this. Standing up to MAGA's cruel attacks on gay and transgender people requires creating empathy and building a broad coalition, not confusing or shaming people who could otherwise be allies. Okay, yeah. Look, I'm going to tell you right now, MAGA doesn't give a shit if you are, if you want to think that you're a girl or think that you're a guy. We don't really care. Just use the proper bathroom. Use the proper changing room. The one that goes along with your sex. That's it. All right? That's it. Okay, otherwise we don't really care. I mean, you do you, but yeah. Anyway. Shifting the language of racial constructs here. Oh my gosh, top of the list. And oh wow, this is like, woo! Anyway, top of the list. Latinx. Or Latinx. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Stop using the words BIPOC. Stop using the word intersectionality. Or minoritized communities. I never heard this one, allyship. I have no idea I've never heard that one being used. But anyway. This paper says, as we fight racism and discrimination, we should reflect upon whether the words we use are part of the reason Democrats are losing support from all non-white voter groups. I am just going to call that out right here, right now. That's why. That is why, right here, this statement, let me read it again. Democrats are losing support from all non-white voter groups. That's the problem. You're freaking putting race into a situation that it doesn't belong. The minute you guys, and I'm speaking to the left here, not my Whiskey Warrior P1s, but the minute that the left, they absolutely have to have this idea of diversity in their, they have to put you into boxes. Why? Why? You have literally no reason to put anybody in a box. You've got none. Okay? And whether you guys believe it or not, the Democrats are the ones that have always been for racism, have always been for keeping black people down, have always been for keeping women on the plantation. That's the Republicans did more for the black Americans and for women in gaining things like the vote and everything else. Why do you have to care about skin color? If you stop talking about skin color, it's no longer going to matter. If you sit here and make it a issue like, oh, well, you don't understand because you're not a insert whatever you want in this part of a sentence, whether it's transgender or whether it's female or whether it's whatever. Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's pretty obvious. Me as a male, I'm not going to understand a female, but you're damn right. I also know that there's a lot of things that are talked about in terms of, say, the black community, for an example. They talk about crime in the black community. Well, okay, crime in the black community. Let's just examine that for a second. Statistics have shown clearly over courses of many years that 13% of the population, which is what the black community makes up in this country, 13% of the population is responsible for 50% of the violent crime. Explain to me how that is, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, that has nothing to do with race. That has everything to do with culture. The culture that the black community has created for itself. That's the culture. Anyway. Speaking of crime, here's the next section, explaining away crime. The criminal is the victim is an afterthought. Well, no shit, that's what you guys think. That's what they're saying this says, these things. Justice involved, incarcerated people, involuntary confinement, carceration. I don't know what carceration, I always thought it was incarceration, but whatever. Anyway, you guys want to change your language. How about changing the fact that you quit freaking supporting the criminal and putting the victim as the afterthought? That is literally exactly what you are doing. Don't tell me your language is saying this. So, in other words, your language is saying exactly what you want, which is that you want to elevate the criminal and suppress or oppress the victim. That's the whole point. These are the words and phrases that this left-leaning leftist organization says, oh, we need to get rid of this in order to be able to communicate properly with the people, the voters. Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you this, Thirdway. It is something you said. It's clearly something you said. You clearly are out of touch with what the average person wants. For an example, you are clearly out of touch that the average person wants to have the law enforced. You are clearly out of touch that the left want, or that the voters want you to understand that there are two genders, male and female. You are clearly out of touch that you need to understand that the American populace and the voters are concerned about other things other than the fact of whether or not you can wear your freaking rainbow pride shirt in a freaking Starbucks. Okay, that, or even better yet, the whole Epstein files thing. That's been so dead and over with, and all you guys do is just continue to harp on it and harp on it and harp on it. It's over. There's nothing there. There's no there. There's nothing to it. If Donald Trump had been on the Epstein files, it would have come out a hell of a long time ago. You guys, you leftists, I'm not talking about my Whiskey Warrior P1s, but you leftists that are out there, you are so out of touch with reality that you can't even discuss it in a standardized way. You are so out of touch with reality that you can't even by modifying your language with taking some of these words out, you're still not going to be able to communicate with the average American, because the average American actually has common sense, logic, reason, intelligence, a belief in, believe it or not, religion, a belief in right and wrong, morals, ethics, integrity, responsibility, accountability, all of these things that you leftist morons have given up on and thrown away a long damn time ago. That's why you're not connecting with the American voter. Has nothing to do with what words you use. Because as I said last night, actions speak louder than words. And your actions show me that you suck and that you're a moron. Anyway, sorry about that. God, I got on a soapbox and got on a rant, and woohoo! I was gone, man. Oh, I should have used my my temperatures. Yeah. I should have used this one during that rant. That's right, too hot. I forgot. I sometimes forget about those. I forget about the fact that I did those. So anyway. All right. Well, I guess the whole thing, actually, before I move on, let me take a look here and see. Oh yeah, here we go. I can do this one. All right. Hey, for all you outdoor enthusiasts, if you're into fishing, camping, or getting off the grid, meet your new best friend, the Hunter Orange 25-quart cooler from Caddis Sports. This isn't your average cooler here, folks. It's roto-molded for max durability, bear-proof, and 20% lighter than other brands. So it's easy to haul, whether you're deep in the backcountry or just setting up at the dock or on a beach. You'll get up to 3 days of ice retention thanks to thick, high-performance insulation. That means cold drinks, fresh food, and fewer ice runs, whether you're chasing muttons offshore or posted up at a campsite. Best part? It's 40 to 50% cheaper than the big-name coolers, but still built to perform season after season. And like all of Caddis Sports name brand gear, it's proudly made in the USA. Use code RUMBLE, R-U-M-B-L-E, at checkout for 10% off your order at Caddis Sports. Go to Caddis Sports, C-A-D-D-I-S, sports.com, and grab the Hunter Orange 25-quart cooler and keep it for your next adventure, and keep your next adventure ice cold. Go to Caddis Sports, C-A-D-D-I-S-S-P-O-R-T-S, CaddisSports.com to grab the Hunter Orange 25-quart cooler and keep your next adventure ice cold. That's Caddis Sports, C-A-D-D-I-S Sports.com. Use promo code RUMBLE at checkout and get 10% off your order today. That's RUMBLE, R-U-M-B-L-E, at checkout for 10% off your order at CaddisSports.com. All right. Hello, Palms. Okay, so apparently the whole driver, semi-driver killing that family or those 3 people in the minivan. I don't know if it was a family, but I'm sure they were friends or family or something in this minivan, and he killed them immediately because he did an illegal U-turn. Well, first of all, by the way, he's being held, without any bail. And so that's a good thing. Yeah, I do need a drink. You're right. All right. Well, you got no bond, no bail, no bond. That's bail. Anyway. Oh, and side note, Bonnie. No, I did not check on your shirts yet. I promise I will tonight after the show. But finally shutting the barn door. Marco Rubio has decided to freeze all visas for truck drivers. So he has caught the this whole thing. So Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, has ordered a freeze on all work visas for commercial truck drivers. This follows after the August 12th pileup on the Florida highway caused by an 18-wheeler driven by an illegal alien attempting an illegal U-turn across the median strip. Look, I'm just going to point this out because I'm just going to tell you this right now. most of the time when I read illegal alien, I'm substituting the word alien for immigrant. Because even our right-leaning or outlets and news outlets, they still call them immigrants. They're not immigrants. If they're illegals, the legal term is alien. It is in the Immigration and Naturalization Act as the definition. They're not an immigrant, okay? They're here illegally. They are an illegal alien. We need to start, using the proper, you want to speak about phraseology and language? We need to start using the proper language for them. But anyway, all right. Rubio posted on X. He said, effective immediately, we are pausing all issuance of work visas for commercial truck drivers. The increasing number of foreign drivers operating large tractor-trailer trucks on U.S. roads is endangering American lives and undercutting the livelihoods of American truckers. So, yeah. And again, keep in mind, this is California's fault, honestly. This is California's fault because they issued the CDL. All right? You know, Ms. T, you bring up a really good point here. And I've actually maintained this for quite some time. I haven't really said it on the program here, but I've maintained it for quite some time. If you really want to get a handle on these illegal aliens coming to the country, honestly, in my view, it really is, it boils down to this. Go to the companies that are hiring these people. Confiscate them. Get rid of those companies. Raid every single one. Confiscate all of their products, their services. Confiscate it all. Put them completely out of business. Because they broke the law. Go after them, remove them from the playing board, and I guarantee you after the first 2 or 3, have that happen to them, and publicize it everywhere. Put it on every newspaper, every news outlet, every podcast, everywhere. Publicize it everywhere. And I guarantee you, you do that maybe 2 or 3 times where you seize all assets and shut the company down. I guarantee you it won't happen again. You will find all of a sudden all these illegal aliens that are jumping the border to come here and try to get jobs here in the U.S., you'll see them disappear. You will see them, you won't even have to worry about guarding the border anymore. I guarantee you, if you do that, get rid of the purpose and the reason for them to be here, which is to take, as I pointed out last night, to come here, do a job, take money, and send it back home. Because regardless, the American dollar still holds a little bit of strength against some of these other countries' monetary values. You have $1,000 here in the United States, that's like millions of dollars in some of these countries back home. And they want that money. They'll come here, they'll save all their money, they'll live, 15 families to a home, to an apartment or whatever, and they'll work for 6 months out of the year and then go home and live it up for the other 6. And I'm telling you, if you dry up the purpose for them being here, you get rid of that, and you won't have to worry about the border. You won't have to worry about the crime. You won't have to worry about any of this other stuff because it'll pretty much solve itself. If you just make an example out of, like I said, 2 or 3 companies, confiscate all of their assets, sell it off at auction, it's closed, it's done, you'll revoke its business license, it cannot do any business anymore in the United States. Maybe even put the CEO or whoever in jail for it. And I guarantee you, 2 or 3 times that happens, you'll all of a sudden see immigration will no longer be a problem as far as illegal immigration. That's it. I'm telling you, it's just, and it's a damn good point there, Ms. T. I'm right there with you. All right. So anyway, this article in Red State is talking about a U.S. citizen wants to be a commercial truck driver. They have to pass a written test, complete a driving test, undergo a training period. But apparently, there might be some question as to whether or not illegals are actually going through all of this. So, yeah. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration states that it is illegal to hold a commercial driver's license from more than one state. And this guy apparently acquired one in Washington as well. He not only did California, but he also did one in Washington. And he may have surrendered his Washington license when California issued a new one in 2024, or he might have been in violation of the law. So, I mean, either way. But yeah, I mean, this is, you know, one thing that the government doesn't seem to understand, or at least that a lot of people, and I'm just going to put it out there, a lot of Americans cannot stomach what absolutely has to be done in order to stop this stuff. I guarantee you, if you make an example, and I mean an example, of anybody who is doing a crime, you make them a clear public example. The rest of the time, these people will essentially fall in line, or they'll take off. And I'm not just talking about illegal aliens. I'm talking about even criminals, too. When a crime gets committed, like the crime of murder, and you get the book thrown at you, like there is no opportunity for parole. You are going to get the death penalty, just like you in Texas. You know, I mean, Ron White, a comedian from Texas, he kind of makes a joke about it. He's like, most states, you know, they want to abolish the death penalty. My state's putting in an express lane. Well, that's what you do. That's what you do. You make an example out of the first two or three, and I guarantee you there will no longer be any more. You make an example out of them. Well, I'm kind of hoping, and I'll be completely open here, is that I'm kind of hoping that Florida actually does something to make an example out of this idiot. Here in LifeSet. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about this right here. The Florida Attorney General is weighing action against California over this guy having a California CDL. And I absolutely hope and pray that this guy does it. Florida Attorney General James Uthmeyer said on Thursday the state is considering legal action against California and other parties following the return of the guy who was an Indian national accused of causing a fatal crash that killed 3 people on the Florida Turnpike. Uthmeyer made the comments during an appearance on Fox News' Ingram Angle after the guy was extradited back to Florida from California, where he had obtained a commercial driver's license despite being in the United States illegally. I hope they do it. I hope they do it. This needs to go all the way to the Supreme Court. This needs to go all the way to the Supreme Court, and it needs to get placed immediately into the factor of, hey, these people are here illegally. They shouldn't be getting anything. Business licenses, driver's licenses, work licenses, nothing. They should get 0 of anything. They need to go. They are not supposed to be here. They need to go. So apparently the Department of Homeland Security announced on Monday that this guy has been charged with 3 counts of vehicular homicide. That's good. But yeah, they need to go. We don't need these people here. And, yeah. So I hope he does. I hope Florida does. I mean, and like I told you before, there is precedence for this. There is precedence for this. And it should happen. It absolutely should happen. Now, Bonnie, unfortunately, I don't think Alligator Alcatraz is going to be around. So Bonnie points out, she goes, take them to Alligator Alcatraz and fly them out immediately. Unfortunately, a Florida judge has stopped the Alligator Alcatraz. You cannot put any more, according to this judge, they cannot put any more illegal aliens in Alligator Alcatraz. And it's also barring, by the way, it's also barring any new construction. Now, Ron DeSantis has already said, okay, that's fine. We're going to go ahead and build a different one somewhere else. So yeah. So, the Ron DeSantis' administration, of course, on 2 days ago, on the 21st, appealed a ruling made by a federal judge halting the expansion of Alligator Alcatraz, illegal alien detention center in the Everglades. The appeal follows U.S. District Judge Kathleen Williams' ruling on August 21st in favor of the environmental groups who had brought a lawsuit against the facility saying that it endangers the Everglades and its wildlife. Now, I got a question, and I'm trying to understand this, but they're building it on an airport that already pre-existed. So how could it all of a sudden be endangering the Everglades and the wildlife? This place already existed. It was already there. I don't understand how they could do this. Where does the sense come in? I mean, the damage is already done. The place is already built. They're just putting up tents and some of these other buildings and things like that. But the place already existed. So Ron DeSantis said at a news conference on August 22nd that the state remains committed to its mission of removing illegal aliens, despite the judge's orders on the usage of the detention facility. So the governor said the judge's ruling was expected and that his office would respond accordingly. So anyway, the state filed a notice of appeal with the 11th Circuit on August 21st. Florida Attorney General James Uthmeyer stated on X that the appeal was filed within hours of the ruling. The facility remains operational to support the state's immigration enforcement efforts, by the way. In the order, Williams demanded that authorities remove all generators, gas sewage, and other waste and waste receptacles that were installed to support this project within 60 days. Some of the fencing and additional lighting that had already been installed must also be removed, according to the judge. The judge said that the decision was driven by a desire to align with Florida environmental law protecting the endangered Everglades. But again, this place was already there. The place was already there. Okay? It's a freaking airport or a landing strip, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, I'm sure Ron DeSantis, for all that Ron DeSantis is, he is a very smart cookie. And I promise you, he will figure out a way to get around this. All right, I've been kind of avoiding this, but, woke still exists, apparently. So for those of you that don't know, I guess I don't know if she's a new CEO or what, but the CEO of Cracker Barrel has decided to remove the old timer white guy and the barrel from the Cracker Barrel Old Country Store logo. So I guess this old guy from the Old Country Store is now going to go and, he's now going to go and, join Aunt Jemima, the the Land O'Lakes folks, some of the other folks that have been canceled for a while, I guess. Anyway. Now she apparently, the CEO apparently made a statement, or at least somebody reported that she made a statement. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but she made a statement that if MAGA chooses not to go to Cracker Barrel, that's fine with her. Yeah. Oh, yeah. All of the Indian symbols for sports teams. Up here in the Northwest, it was all the Indian names on all of our high schools and stuff like that. Oh, yeah. I forgot Uncle Ben and so on and so forth. So anyway, I mean, there it is. There's the difference in the thing. Well, if you do something stupid, honestly, if you do something stupid like this, you have got to be expecting that you're going to get teased. Well, Steak and Shake mocks Cracker Barrel over the identity problem. So Steak and Shake posted that sometimes people want to change things just to put their own personality on things. It says at Cracker Barrel, their goal is to delete the personality altogether. Hence the elimination of the old timer from the signage. Heritage is what got Cracker Barrel this far. And now the CEO just wants to scrap it all away. Now, they've got a good point here. I mean, a lot of people don't seem to understand. If there is something that you do that is a success, keep doing it. Don't just change something just for, whatever. Anyway, Steak and Shake, they said, at Steak and Shake, we take pride in our history, our families, and American values. All are welcome. We will never market ourselves away from our past in a cheap effort to gain the approval of trend seekers. Yep. So there you go. The post followed another statement in which Steak and Shake responded to Trump advisor Alex Brosowitz, who criticized Cracker Barrel's rebranding efforts. In its reply, Steak and Shake accused Cracker Barrel Cracker Barrel's board of directors of dismissing the chain's historical customers and brand. The company posted, at Steak and Shake, we have gone back to basics. Our tallow fries are waiting for you. Oh, yeah, and you can now also pay with Bitcoin. Steak and Shake also posted, this is what happens when you have a board that does not respect their historical customers or their brand. Yeah. So there you go. And this is the first time, by the way, since 1977 that this has been the case. Yeah. Now, I personally, I've eaten at Cracker Barrel before. I mean, it's pretty good. Don't get me wrong. It's pretty good. But here's the CEO Julie Felice Massino. I don't know how to pronounce her freaking last name. Anyway, she said that, and she has defended the redesign, insisting that the reaction has been largely favorable. Really? But here, I'm just going to point this out to you. If you think it's largely favorable, check your stock price, because apparently Cracker Barrel's stock price dropped sharply after the announcement. It fell more than 12% on Thursday, the steepest single-day decline since April. Anyway. Yeah. So, another one bites the dust. Don't be surprised if you see Cracker Barrel coming back, changing their name or something or whatever. Yeah. Anyway. They're going to probably disappear. All right, folks, that is it for me for this evening. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It is free. And once you are signed up and signed in, make sure that you search up the American Perspective channel and hit that green follow button to get notified every time I go live. Also, too, don't forget to hit a thumbs up or a thumbs down across all of my platforms, whether it's X, YouTube, Facebook, or, of course, the aforementioned Rumble. Oh, that's right. Hold up. Don't. Wait. Hold up. Oh, shit. Sorry. I just did my camera. Come on, stop. No. Come on. You're supposed to. Son of a bitch. Sorry. Sorry for my language. My camera is acting really, really weird here. Come on. There we go. Finally. All right. I forgot. See? I'm telling you. I forgot. All right, Coco. Here we go. For Coco, normally to whiskey, but Coco, insert name here. This is for you. Happy birthday to Coco. Coco to whiskey, or whatever name you want to go by. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Coco. Happy birthday to you. There you go, Coco. Have a great birthday, and I hope your family spoils you. All right, folks, we will see you Monday right here on American Perspective at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Have a great rest of your weekend, and good night, everybody.